Oh, hold on a second. We have a visitor. Come on. I just went live, and this is when you come in.
Hi, Evie.
Say hi, world.
Hi, Evie.
Hello.
Say
Hi.
hi. She's wearing like a blanket sweater thing that she got. It's a what? A wearable blanket. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
I
Oh
would
yeah.
love one
Okay,
of
well,
those.
this is the thing. She's been wearing it all day, and just a little thing in this big. So, par for the course here at the Lieb household. Not only do we have a wearable blanket and a little tiny girl inside one, but there was a gas leak. So I had to have the energy company come and turn off the gas and figure out what was wrong. We're fine. We don't have to leave. But so I had to get food delivered because I couldn't cook. So the food delivery is going to come like right in the middle of our show.
Annie, this is unbelievable. We had the same thing last week.
They're calling right now. You guys talk. I'll be right back.
Annie, we had the same thing last week. We had a gas leak.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes.
that's scary.
That was interesting. That she had the same problem. Yeah, we had that fixed too.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I'm definitely glad that's all like worked out.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the odds? Having us the same thing and Annie today the same thing. It's weird.
Well, it's not contagious. It won't happen to anybody else.
Yes.
So,
Annie.
yes, the same thing happened to you.
Yes.
I can't even
last
believe
week.
it.
Yeah.
Now my best friend's calling. I can't, guys. I can't today. I can't. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna sit here quietly because it seems like it's just that debacle kind of evening. This was supposed to be like a nice, warm fireside chat of healing, and then it's like my life.
And you know what? It can still be that. And why not? Because that is what our life is, you know?
This is life, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
So, welcome everyone to the Women's Circle. Welcome. We are here this evening because we have done a women's group monthly or bi-monthly in the past, and that ended, and we decided we really missed each other. So we were going to do a live, talk about what we're doing, some of the things we're doing, some of how I think I would like to ask how we're healing, how healing's been looking for us recently, like kind of go around. And then afterwards, we're going to go over into a Zoom and chat a little bit more intimately with people that would like to join us from this. Now, this is a woman's circle, but I do welcome any of the men that are, we're not anti-men here. So
we
you're
are
welcome.
not.
And
We love men.
we appreciate,
We
all of this.
we embrace the divine masculine and feminine.
Yes, we do. So, Felicia, how has healing been for you recently?
Oh, recently. Recently, continue to do what AKA shadow work.
Okay.
And one of the things has been like past childhood stuff and just my impatience.
Your impatience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see you as impatient at all. In fact, I feel like you're the opposite of that. You're like, it's going to come. Just girl, of course it is. It's coming.
But see, it's all about certain things. I realized that I had a certain impatience with my mother.
Interesting.
She lives with me. She was a trigger because she does things differently than what I do. And so I found myself questioning with frustration. Why do you do that? That makes like I don't understand. It's like the judgment is that she doesn't do the things the way that I would do them. But because she does it differently, I feel as though I have the right to have this judgment because it impedes on my time on something.
And what is it about a mother that can do that so much more than any other living human being in our lives, especially to us women? It's just such a
because it's like you're supposed to know. It's like one of the closest, you would think, closest bonds, right? You came from this person, like who you breathed the same air, was flowing the same blood for all these years. So it's like this whole expectation of an understanding, of a knowing. And I realized that like lately I would just be impatient, or I would just be short. No. Yes. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
And I realized, okay, what is that from? So instead of seeing her as my mother, I started seeing her as a woman, as a person instead.
Which seems so simple, but it when you make that tweak, like it seems so obvious to do that, right? But then when you make that tweak in your
Mhm.
life, it changes everything.
Mhm.
You actually recognize that your mother is just a human like you, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then you see it from that lens.
Mhm. Yep. And so it's just the whole difference of, just because, they do it differently and you think, oh, this takes longer or some kind of time with that, or the frustration is like, well, maybe there's a reason you need to slow down. There's a reason why you're not going to get whatever, wherever you may need to be. Like, just embrace this time, because, there'll be a time that she'll not be here on the physical, and you'll be like, oh, taking that for granted. But I realized that, yeah, that lately it was like I was being short and triggering. And it was just like, why? And I was like, because she does things differently. And it was just like irking me.
Understandable. It's a good awareness. Susan, hi. Great to see you as always. I find son bonds with mom and daughter bonds with dad. Of course, they bond with both, but there's something that I can't explain.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any comments about that? Because, of course, we all know, my Sammy. So everybody knows me and my Sammy. So what do you guys have to, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. It is the older my daughters get that I don't feel as connected to them. Well, what I mean to say is I feel more of a disconnect as they're getting into their own womanness,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And they're actively kind of like being snippety with me, but they're a little bit younger than you. So same kind of thing, but other side.
Uh-huh. Right.
Um, and and I'm just like, oh, right. I need to let go of those apron strings, like let them be their own woman. Um, with my sons, it's interesting. I feel like it's the opposite happening. Like the older they get, they're more like, Mom, why aren't you like, why aren't we kicking it? And I'm just like, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, let's kick
He
it.
likes to go hiking like on the big rocks like I do. And he's like, whoa, you went to Arizona without me? What's that about? So like, whereas my daughters were like, good. How long you gone? Okay.
It's really interesting,
Right.
Cordelia, that you say that, because in my own personal experience, I left, like I was really, really close. I left as a teen, kind of not left, but like pulled away. And then in my early 20s, I returned to my parents for more support. And like, it was like, I just had to go through that sort of thing. And then I went back, especially toward my dad.
I never left my dad. I was like, but my mom, yes, that was the same thing for me. It was like literally the year before she died when I finally realized how, much of an amazing human being she is. She died when I was 25 and I was 24 when my lights came on. I'm very grateful for that. Like, think about it. Like, what if she had died and I just and I never reconciled? That would suck. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How is everyone else's jump in? You want to talk about some
Yeah.
of your healing lately? Feel free.
Well, I have been going through some interesting times because I also made a post about it. I just left my day job, and and I'm now going 100% for my calling, which is coaching and meditation. And I have been feeling the excitement, the expansion in my being. It's so interesting. Like I'm finding my real path, and I'm doing it. I'm there, and it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm feeling so connected with myself. And the other day I attended a book reading session. Cordelia was there too, and I was so moved about the things that I was thinking, I was hearing. I feel like I found myself 100%. I'm home.
It's beautiful.
That is.
So
Congratulations.
thank you, and it's so happy place. It's a happy place, and through my coaching, my meditation, my teaching, and everything, I want to take everybody there to their home,
Their soul center.
soul center. Yes, exactly.
That's where you are. A place of wholeness and oneness, and
Absolutely. And I'm feeling like I'm joy. I am love. I am life, energy. So
I know what you mean. When I leaned into this and I was like, this isn't a side gig. This is going to be a thing. Like, this is it for me. I'm leaning in and really made this a business that is going to support my family and me. That it was so freeing, like scary and risky, right? But freeing
yes,
in such a way that I'd never felt before. Like there was like something
exactly
lifted from me.
I'm exactly there, Annie.
Yeah, that's a
and
great feeling.
I feel like I made room. I just let that go so that I can make room for new work, new people to heal.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Yes, Susan.
That's
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
That's awesome. So happy for you.
Thank
I
you.
like feel it in my heart. I'm so happy
Thank
for you. You deserve that so much.
Thank you so much.
Heather?
Well, I feel quite similar to what Ifek just talked about, because I too have been going through a very similar process. For a long time, I felt like I was always trying to play some kind of a role somewhere in my life, and that things just weren't aligning for me. And this last couple of weeks, it's like I've gone full circle kind of back to where I feel like I started from and where I began, into who I'm really supposed to be, or who more authentic, more living from my core values, from my beliefs, instead of sort of those outside voices of other people telling me sort of who I should be or what I should be doing with my life. So I finally feel like who I am is aligning with what I do. And it's just the last 2 weeks, I have felt so much freedom in that. It's been incredible.
Isn't it interesting how like that's what you do, and you talk to people and you make them better and you heal them daily about confidence and motivation, and that's what you do. You're my confidence girl, right? And then you had to turn the lens around on yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so easy to talk to someone else about. And then I started to think, well, if I can say all of these things and ask these questions of someone else, then why am I not doing that to myself? And so when I really embraced that, that's when all of the answers really began to surface for me. And I thought, well, okay, why am I not just aligning and living, instead of worrying about some kind of title or something that I thought I should be? Why not just do Heather and be Heather?
And Annie, isn't that interesting that all of us like are going through some kind of like an extra level of self-awareness? Does it have something to do with that we all went through breath framework? Is it because of, and writing about it? I think, you know what, writing the book, writing my chapter made me to really internalize it. I think
it makes it real when you write it. And
I
it's
think it was the perfect exercise for us to do, to write down what we went through, uh, what we got from breath framework. Writing it, it's so funny. When I was a student, I was always studying writing. I would write, I would read, and then to to repeat it, I would write, and it would get to my mind much easier through writing. It felt exactly the same way with writing about breath framework, what for the book. I
like
really,
seeped in.
exactly, I put it on like a clock. It's on me.
Yes.
You know?
I totally understand. There's something, and that's why I tell clients too, there's something about, there's a difference. And some people, insist on using their computers, and that's fine if that works for you. But there is something about your mind to your hand to pen to paper that I believe is healing, versus typing. There's something that for you to think it and then it goes, the thought process and then write it. It's like an extra step. I don't
It's
know.
very
Indeed.
much like journaling when you're
Yeah,
kind of doing your
exactly.
diary and that kind of thing, and just putting it all out there. It doesn't matter, like there's no sort of filter. You just say whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. And so it makes it so real.
Makes it so real.
Because there's
Mhm.
nobody to judge you there. You
Right.
just It's
Except for,
just paper, pen, and you can be 100% honest.
so Susan said, I gave up myself for my children and husband. Once I started finding myself, my children had a difficult time with it. Does anyone want to comment on that?
How old were the kids? That was
I do find it, I will tell you that in your journey, and as you do go on this personal path and start to really build your awareness and really become truly who you are, there are many people in your life. It's like when you first set boundaries, like people will push back. They don't like, and even if it's, if these are good changes that you're making naturally, I think sometimes human nature, like you kind of put, wait a minute, you're acting different. So I understand kids kind of sometimes having a little trouble with, like, is this what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And how
That's
is
why.
this going to change our relationship by you taking this new set of guiding principles? Like, how I think they ask themselves, like, okay, what does this look like for me? How is this going to concern our relationship? Is it going to change the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People are always concerned about their requirements. It's like, oh, your youngest was 28. Well, there we have it.
Yes,
Because
these are like adults.
yeah, they had a whole lifetime of expectations of who you are, and now that will throw them off kilter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a different conversation for sure for toddlers, young adults,
Yeah.
teenagers. Then as you say, 28. You still consider them your kids because they are, but yet they are full-fledged adults, and so you're interacting with them in a different type of relationship. So yeah, when you're changing, that's why a lot of times I definitely believe that you're not able to tell everybody what your healing journey is, your process is, as you have these revelations like, oh, I'm going to stand in my power. I'm going to reclaim this. I'm going to allow this to happen. Like being able to share all of that, because people that are not on that journey with you, like, wait, like you just disrupting
How I
my
know you.
flow. Like, yeah, like, wait, this is going to change something that's in my life.
Yeah.
And it also is a mirror reflection sometimes, right? Because sometimes some of the things we need to change that we're changing in ourselves is a reflection of something they need to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
And
like,
that's scary.
I'm like, oh no, mm-mm. So, they're
That's
going
I'm
to
not
shut
ready for that.
down. Right. I'm
that's
like, I'm not
scary.
ready for that. I'm going to shut that down. So, yeah, it's absolutely going to be people that will not be in agreement with
Yeah.
your healing journey. But at the same time, that's when you have to realize those individuals that are somewhat similar to you. That's why we have these women's circles, because especially after joining us in the Zoom room, because we get it, we're more comfortable probably sharing more things publicly, but there's others that may not be. So that's why we wanted to go into a private conversation that you can be able to share and talk to individuals like, yeah, I've been there, I know what that's like, and be able to guide you on your path, because you're not able to share and collaborate and align with everyone because they're not ready for that change.
Right.
And sometimes they just have to feel your difference, right? Like when you're changing, you yourself sometimes don't even have the vocabulary, but you have a different way of being, you know?
Yeah.
And people, they feel the vibration of your being different. And I think that speaks much louder than any words we could ever use.
Those are the favorite ones. You'll know when you're really doing your work because you'll get like, you acting different.
It's different about you.
What you doing? What you reading?
Like a little bit of rebellion kind of happening, right?
Yeah.
But then you'll have those too that will see the, because I remember one time I had because I was going on my journey to work and I was not like sharing it with my husband at the time. And we were one day, he knew, this is how you know, he knew he said something to me that would have been an instant trigger for me in the past. Like I just would have popped off or said something, been mad. And I was just like, okay. And then, like a couple minutes later, it was like, okay, so what are you reading? Like, what are you doing? Because
what are you on?
Yeah.
like,
What are you on?
right? It's like, because he knew that what he said
Yeah.
was not in alignment. He knew, but it was like, oh, okay. So, but it was an acknowledgement, right? Because those same people will acknowledge the growth that you have. I was like, yeah. I said, there would have been time you definitely would have got a different reply from me. Good job, Felicia.
Yeah.
Now that you asked me, I'm reading such and such, or I watched this video or whatever. So then, you can have that conversation. But if I would have been like, hey, watch this with me, you need to learn and do, I'd have been like resistant, like, no, I'm not watching that. So
Absolutely, Felicia. I always tell my clients and everybody that you cannot change people. You can only change yourself and be an example so that they meet you the halfway. You cannot pull anybody unless they want to come with you.
Right. Their begin is where their begin is, right?
Right.
And that's why we have to meet them where they are, because and that's what we do with our clients. Because when you try to tell them where they need to begin, or a lot of times I find people think they know where they are, but they don't. We have to dig a little deeper and then they find their begin. And it's like, we're like this third session and it's like fourth session and we're talking for a month. It's like, can we just find your begin? And it's like, lights start to go off. All right, this is where now we can really begin to dig in.
It's like the whole, I've been watching the show, They're Just Around Me thing. It's like, racetrack. If you're going for the long journey, you'll notice that everyone does not start at the same line, right? They're staggered spots. Because why? Because people that are on the outside, they accommodate the circumferences around. So that different is going to be a different start. Versus, okay, if we're only going 50 yards, everybody might start on the same line together. But that's basically what this is. It's like everybody's on their journey. They might be going around the same track, but we're all at a different starting point. You just got to find out where you're at on that track and then go from there.
That's a great analogy.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely stealing that, but I'll give you credit. I will. I mean, I'll like put an asterisk.
Okay.
Felicia said that, but that was really good. I like that because it's so true.
You'll almost not know.
What did you say?
I said you're going to steal like an artist. You will almost not know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
No.
that's all good.
I think having 3 kids in 4.5 years did me in. She said,
"Girl, you did that."
That was a lot. I was talking about having babies and like how like I said to my ex-husband when I didn't feel labor with Sammy because he was induced. So like with Evie, he was 26 months old. He was asleep. And I said I started to feel something. Now remember, I never felt labor, right? So I'm like, what? the F is that? It was 3 weeks early. I'm like, I said to my ex-husband, I said, well, he was my husband at the time.
Mhm.
I said, I'm either like going into labor and having this baby, or I'm dying. Like I'm actually dying, because this is I never felt it. Take me to the hospital. I never felt anything like this. So I had all new respect for women everywhere.
Oh, yes.
That we do this, and we just people just have babies all the time. It's just unbelievable. I know that's like an off topic, but I don't care, because women are
We're just
unbelievable.
flowing. We're just flowing from topic to topic.
You know?
But yeah.
Yeah.
And then shout out to those that do the natural. No epidurals, no nothing.
No.
Thank you.
Shout out to
Thank
y'all.
you very much.
Yes.
I don't do
You
pain.
did that.
I appreciate the acknowledgement.
Much respect, sis. I see you.
Mad respect.
Yes.
Like, I don't do pain. No.
I didn't do pain either, because it's a labor of love, literally. Like I have 4 at home. And when you're in a loving environment, literally, like I had 2 hospital births. It did hurt a lot more at the hospital, because it's so uncomfortable.
Well, it's interesting, because if you put that in like the whole analogy of like pain and love, it's like literally when you're giving birth and you are going through that pain, it's something about it that still is overwhelming of the joy and the experience, because many times you do it again, but it's like we forget at that time, that pain
Yes.
that you had, or you think, hey, it's for that little short amount of time that it's worth it. I'm going to produce this new baby. It's going to be a wonderful experience and expression of the love. But just like our journeys of life and healing and all that, like we experience pain, and we'll get pregnant again, and we'll do something, and
We're
it's like
just the whole beginning of life for the kid, like how hard
Yep.
it is. You forget, you put that away. Like in it, I was like, I'm not dramatic or anything, but in it, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Are you kidding me? This is it. I'm done. Time up. I'm closed. And then,
See, that's the fear part, Annie, and that's like everything else in our life, right? Because I guess to Felicia's point also, in a normal situation, we get to the edge and we just feel that fear so much, as if it's real. And if we just allow ourselves to let go and say, like, to use the analogy of childbirth, baby has to come out, right? So like, to use the analogy in real life, what's the worst thing that could happen if I allow myself to flow with this and just go through it, right? And then fear becomes an awareness of, oh, I'm about to have a breakthrough, right?
Yes.
I'm about to begin my healing. And so that was a beautiful analogy, actually, to the last 3 steps of the breath framework, isn't it? Because you have to just allow yourself to see fear as an enlightenment, and not as something to run away from or be repelled from.
and then
go
through, and then to
sitting with it and acknowledging it. And
that is a wonderful place to wrap up. I think Cordelia said it best, and we end with a little bit about the breath framework.
Yes.
God bless you. Always thank you. Thank you for coming, Gabriel. We appreciate it. We will definitely do this again, but we have in the comments on LinkedIn is the Zoom link. Susan, if you want to join us, or Gabriel, if you want to join us, please come talk to us for an intimate discussion now. Other than that, we are going to say good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you, ladies. Thanks for being here.